Okay, so
we'll see. We'll see this mahal for the mahal.
We're gonna learn right now. Okay. So Pirushim Shadvar Malalu who Kidul Halal. So to explain these words, let's see what we got. Okay. B'shas kinyane shel Yaakov es b'chayra. When Yaakov went to buy the b'chayra, miyada shel Esav from Esav. Harehu Aimer. So he says the following: Michra kayoim as b'chayras chali. Sell to me kayoim as b'chayras chali. V'rab mehem apirushim altevis kayoim. So many pirushim on what the word kayoim means. There's no need for this word in the sentence. Rashi says, like, as clear as it is today, that's how you should sell me the b'chayra. The Ramban said, I forgot what he said. I forgot. Okay. Right. That's remind me now. The Ramban says that it's a din in that that the Yerusha only takes effect after a person dies. That's so the b'chayra is totally in Yerusha. So he wants it to be kiyayim. Okay. Okay, so let's see what he says. V'nei b'zeh lefarish, v'nei b'zeh lefarish as a teva hazu k'fi atam shana margishim ba b'teva zu achshav b'sudas Purim. So I want to give you the feeling I have now with this. So just Purim, what this word means to me now. Okay. Hine. Yaakov Amar Esav. Yaakov says the following to Esav, right? When they meet up again after coming back from Laban's house. So he says, Esav says, Yaakov, no, you'll come with me. And Yaakov tells him, I got to take time. I got kids. I got cattle. They go at their own pace. And we'll walk until I reach you, my master, in Seir. Now, the verb Shal Yaakov it never happened. He never went and met Esav in Har Seir. It can't be that Yaakov was like just saying something. He wasn't lying, and he wasn't just making something up. So what did Yaakov mean? So it must be. So when Yaakov said Ad Avayel Adani Seira, he was talking about I will get there, and not I personally, but we will meet up again in Achras Yam. Asher Oz Yav Yaakov l'Seir. Then Yaakov will come to Seir Ka'amur, like it says Va'olam Ma'ishiyim B'Har Tzion Lishbaitis Har Esav. So it will be on Har Esav. Will come to Seira to judge Esav. Menimtza, so it comes down. Sha'af al Pi Yaakov Amar LaEsav. Avay, I will come El Adoni Seira Bistama. So even though he didn't say he means the future, it's already said. He said it b'stam. But the way it's interpreted to mean at a later time. So that means, what does that mean? When Yaakov talks, he doesn't necessarily mean today. He could be talking about it in the future, in Achras Hayam. So now, when he's buying the b'chayra from Esav, so he needs to make sure that when I'm saying this, I don't want you to interpret it to mean later as well. I want you to know that when I'm saying it, I mean it right now today. That's what I have to say to Kayem. I'm sorry, I skipped a line. Because if it wasn't for this emphasis, Esav could make a very stark ataina. Yes, I sold you the b'chayra. Just like you promised me today, and it's only going to be fulfilled in the future. I could say the same thing. My sale to you will also be so therefore, he has to emphasize the word kayim. To make sure that everybody is clear to understand that the intent here is for today and not for the future. Because the emphasis when a person speaks, so the way we understand what he's saying, any person when they speak, the way we understand them is really based on who they are. Right? And that's true for all of us, right? When we all wear glasses, when we all have, I guess, filters on our ears when we're listening to people speak. And depending on who they are, we take them, to this level of certainty, how much we're willing to believe them, how much they mean it. I remember having to learn how to do this, to actually take what the person was saying to me, to take it at face value, and that they really mean what they're saying. I had I don't know, for some reason I didn't do that naturally, or I would at least whatever. So for certain people I had to actually if they say it, so then just believe it as what they say. So because the says okay, dibur shel adam are misparshim him lefi sharshay. I guess there can go two ways. The way you whatever. Okay. V'alkein mekivin shesharshish liyakov hu ba'achris hayamim. So being that Yaakov's root is really in achris hayamim, he's really an Eilam Habadikiyid person. Therefore, when he talks stam, he's not talking about today, he's talking about later on. And that's why he had to be Magdish Kiyim. Shani Esav Shachaki Mazeh. But Esav is really entirely different. Esav, his chelik is this world. He doesn't have a portion in the world to come. In the later days in Mashiach Tzedin. And therefore his words are only seen with the mirror of today, the lens of today, and not in the through the lens of tomorrow. Okay, beautiful, nice shot. Very nice. Kayom. We needed that. Geshmak.
I think I like this movie, the Shosha.
Yeah. Yeah.
That speaks to me a lot because there was the instructions to second base in English. Because he didn't speak nicely Russian Hara. So the Maral has one Mahalach, it's just it's not the Sib, it's on Simon. It's in English, there's a Makom where everybody serves God as a unit. If you're not getting along, so then you don't need this English. But what makes a human being great is his ability to speak, express his Shurish who he is. And we took that and we vilified it, we made it disgusting. I'm saying this and this. So when you speak, it's really the Shurish
of the person. Yeah, he's saying it. Yeah, that's why it's inspired. Because you should be expressing your Shurish.
Comes out.
What's that?
Paraphrase time, the Hevel Piv.
Hevel Piv comes from the deepest essence. Yeah, Dibur Shel Adam, Malik. Okay, so that's that's step one. Now, Lashon HaKosav Parshas Amalek. This is where it gets fun. In the Parasha of Amalek, and this is in Perek Yutes in Bishalach. So Moshe tells Yeshua, "Tzevi hilachem ba'Amalek, go out and fight Amalek. Machar, tomorrow. Anechi nitzav al Reish Hagiva, I'll be standing on the top of the mountain." The Tevas Machar zu b'mishpat zeh. The word Machar in this sentence, mispareshes hi b'shtei afanim. There are two ways you can read this word in the sentence. You could read it as Sevi Lachem Ba'Amalek Machar, go and fight against Amalek tomorrow. Or you could read it as you could read it Sevi Lachem Amalek, go fight against Amalek, and Machar Anechi Nitzav Al Reish Hagiva. It's one of it's one of the phrases of Nekach Amr Chachamim. Chazal tells us Shemachar Zeh Umei Oisen HaMikrois She'ein Lam Hachreya. It's from one of the psukim that don't have a there's no verdict on it. There's no way, we don't know how to read it. It can go either way. So let's understand, why is it here in this pasuk that there needs to be a word, and the word is machar, that can be taken in two ways. That doesn't have a hachreya. There's no verdict out on it. What's the Inyan? Okay. Hine, b'Megillas Esther chayzeres v'nishnas tevas l'machar. You'll as we read the Megillah, we'll find the word machar is often mentioned. Machar, kegayin, for instance, l'machar ani karui la imam melech. L'machar ani karui la imam melech. Right, that was Achashverosh, Haman talking, that I'm called tomorrow to be with the king, I think, with her and the king. Okay, ukadaima. There's a lot of l'machar. Machar kayim. She asked for another day like today. We'll see more. The Kazav Zamaral. Zamaral explains what's the Inyan of Machar. Nizau mishum shekol Inyan mapalase shel Amalek shayachu l'Machar. That's because the fall of Amalek doesn't happen today. It really only happens tomorrow. In Achras Hayam. I don't know why it doesn't quote it, but Reishis Gaim Amalek Acharisei David. Amalek is their Mapala comes at the end of days. The Achras Hayam. It's l'Machar. Okay, interesting.
He puts it all together.
I'm sure he does. Okay. V'cheinu ayim b'Shmuel. Shehika David, as in Shmuel means in Shmuel Aleph, in Sefer Shmuel. When David goes to fight against the Amalek, it also says L'macharas. Makes a reference to tomorrow. Why? Mishum da'hayayim hazeh shayechu b'emes l'Amalek. Like we said, Esav Elam hazeh hayayim is belongs to Esav, belongs to Amalek, and therefore Mapolasai can't be hayayim. His Mapola only comes tomorrow. Mapolasai hu inin shalmachar. V'nimtza, so it comes out to mitzi usay shel Amalek ba'elam b'yem hazeh. That means the existence of Amalek in this world. Today, ma'apili as ha'akara shel mitzias halamachar. It really hides. It covers up the fact that there's a machar. The mitzias of machar. Amalek exists today, and they sort of, that's what they cover up the fact that there's a tomorrow, because once tomorrow comes, they no longer exist. And since this exists in this is the way things are. So therefore, in the Torah we find the same thing. So we're going to find this idea that Amalek he covers, he hides the right? That means Machar is in Amalek's existence. Machar is not really there. It's clouded. So therefore, when the Torah, when Moshe gives Yeshua the command, say l'lachem Amalek, tevas l'machar ein lahachreya. It's not clear that word because it needs to be hidden over. It's another nakuda also. I think. I think the idea there is also the only way we can fight against Amalek is if we bring in Machar.
I thought you were saying that's also chilek of them, that they cloud.
They are. He is saying that.
Right.
Machar has to be there. In order to knock off Amalek, you need to be tapping into Machar. Right. You need to tap into La'asad Love. That's the only way you can fight Amalek.
Right. I mean, just the person in this world. If you didn't believe that there was accuracy on there's anything, so the Mahalach of the world makes sense. Just look for now. What do you do?
What's the phrase? I couldn't think of it. Something's like, for tomorrow you may die.
Eat,
drink, and be merry. For tomorrow you may die. And that's it. Then it's all over. There's no tomorrow. Tomorrow is death. It's mamish Amalek. It's mamish Esav. Hayom hazeh. So yeah, it totally clouds over. All of Elam Hazeh, everything's sort of knocks out thinking about tomorrow. And that's why the Pasuk weren't fighting against Amalek. Amalek is hidden. You can't hit. But Machar has to be there. The Chol is in Bachenes.
So that's where Moshe was getting the Rechem.
Yeah.
The same letters as Machar is to create for the future. That's where he built on.
It's also something that's hidden. You can't see. Right? You can see it, but it's there. And then you can see more, but it's still hidden until it comes out. That's the conversation in the womb. Journeys.
Really?
No, this is, that song? Conversations in the Womb? You gotta listen to it. I played it for my class this week. What? Okay. V'chol eizin bechenes. And every ear can discern, or any discerning ear, I should say. Makshiva hi es hadgasha hazu b'kas va'olam etech bakashosa shel Esther. So now Esther's request comes even clearer. Ki b'shah shebiksha Esther al hisafez yem shamachias Amalek b'Shushan ha'ir. When Esther requests an extra day to wipe out Amalek in Shushan, loy biksha ella sheyiga machar kedas hayem. She asks that tomorrow should have the rules as today. Wow, it's really that today should have the din of tomorrow. Right?
Yeah, okay.
But Machar Kedas Hayem.
It's funny because that's like one of the weirder parts. There's a couple of weird parts in the world. Like, could we just get another day to kill him? What are you doing? Like, what do you need extra day?
Right. When they should etzem, because in essence, the Tchumei Hayem Hazeh, great if we were only living in here, if we were only discussing the today, this world, you couldn't destroy Amalek. And therefore, you need to have a macher to be able to affect a malik. You need to be tapping into this idea.
Want to kill everybody on one day?
Interesting.
Like, who cares?
Beautiful.
One
Beautiful
day.
Sofa.
Right.
Hayayim hazeh.
Right.
Gewaldig.
In this world.
I'm saying,
Yeah.
like,
There's
it could have been a month,
Hakadosh,
but why one day? Everyone's dead.
Right.
Like a few weeks.
Very good. So now we come to what we started with. Why is it that Mikra Megillah won't be bottled in the future? And the Torah says, "Shemikivin shall kol kula emedes Megillah hazu beside macher kedas hayay," because the essence of the Megillah is it's a story about destroying Amalek, the destruction of Amalek, and that is macher kedas hayay. It's a story about tomorrow. So therefore, it doesn't fall into everything else is written for today. This is written for tomorrow. It only exists because of this concept of machar of Allah Lavai. Because the bittul of all of the other svarim, so they go along the line of today and Olam Haza, Olam Haba, Hayayim and Lamachar. Because Esther Mufkasi may have the lazu. But Esther has nothing to do with that. Shekin Bashelet Hu Mahalach Shel Machar Kedas Hayayim. Because it only exists in tomorrow.
That's
okay. Okay. So I want to add one thing to this. So I remember learning this years ago, and it was nice, cute words, Lamachar, very nice Hayayim. And then this is like mamish. The Teres HaChasidus is known as Teres Melech HaMashiach, right? Kabbalah, the Sefer Da Yafukum and Galusa Da, right? With this Sefer, all that's with the Zayar, that's with the Basht. It's all about I think the Zayar. All these things are tapping into the art of Acharis Hayamim and bringing it closer to us. That's the Pneumius HaTorah. All of this, it's more, the way I say it is that we grow up the avodah of bechira, which is choosing between right and wrong, and that avodah, right? And then Chassidus introduces this idea of yediyah, and avodah isn't so much choosing right and wrong. The avodah is more hachna and bittul to Hakadosh Baruch Hu, and that's an idea of la'as lavai. And that's the macher, and we're bringing in the way we're bringing on the geula. The way we're going to combat Amalek and to get to that point is only by drawing on the light of that macher and bringing it closer to us, to this day. So I think that's what I thought. That's the Inyan over here of what he's handling. That the only way we can beat Amalek is by tapping into macher. The only way we'll get out of this thing is by tapping into this idea of macher. And what I didn't get to, I wanted to look over the song in Annie of tomorrow, but I didn't have a chance to go to the lyrics to see, what the mashma is in tomorrow. The song come out tomorrow, but that's But I think that's the another level of what the Rafaner is dressing up over here.
Again, the year is the person who sees that there's a building towards tomorrow. It's interesting. Like emotionally, that's very stressful. Living for tomorrow now. That's the difficulty. Person has enough money to pay his bills today, but he's worried that he's not going to have for tomorrow. You're going to be stressed constantly.
Yeah.
Because you're not.
And if
you're not tomorrow. You're not.
What's the stress there? I think of the stress is when you're thinking about that, it never ends. Because once you're fine with yourself, then you worry about your kids and your grandchildren. You want everybody to be set up.
Next year, next month, 5 years. Right. Okay. Came that. So here, I guess that there is a macher. That today's avoda is a continuation to the future. Right? It's not that today doesn't have value, the ikr is still tomorrow. We're speaking in a Pachad. But there is a continuum. It's not just for now. There is a continuum avoda, and that's the ikr mahalach of a yid. That's a yid thing. I think the Ukrainian prime minister may be president.
But I'm saying, I think he's saying that's the basic. I mean, that's the fight between Esav and Yaakov. Do we live for today, or are we living for tomorrow also?
Okay.
Right.
Also,
The kuda that he's saying is that in order to to destroy Amalek, you need to be able to tap into something to tap into that. Okay, so
Maybe
in
it's
avoided the guy, that means you have to have. I saw this today. The difference between the Chavis Chaim and I forgot who was saying it. Was we both believe in Elam Haba, right? But for me, Elam Haba is over there. For the Chavis Chaim, the Elam Haba was like the next door. Right, so it was much more real. So that's an avoida. The idea of bringing macher here is that avoida. That's how real it is.
It's not like it's an abstract thing that it's having to tap into while you're living in this world.
And that's the mapol over Amalek, right? And I'm saying another rung to that is the avoida of what's the avoida of Lazalavai? What are we going to do? Like, what's the avoida? What? What's that avoida? What was the avoida of Adam Rishon in Gan Eden before? There's Bechira. So I think there's the two avodas are Bechira and Yediyah. There are two avodas. There's the avodah of Bechira. That's Olam Hazeh avodah. Bechira, choosing between right and wrong. There's another avodah of Yediyah. Right? That's the exact opposite. Everything is Rash. There's no Bechira. Right? That's Lazalavai. And the avodah of Yediyah is just hispatlus. That's like years of my.
No question. So you're saying that is machar. That's the machar. That's what.
That's a different level of avodah.
Okay, the step one is the ideal level.
Yeah. But that level of knocking off Amalek. Again, Amalek is going to be gone later on because they're not going to deal with that. But whatever, we can go on. I to show you something else here. Was that? Just another nikud that I thought about while I was reading this is that Amalek we know is the gematria of Suffolk. So I think that's also why Macher doesn't have a hechreya. Is because we don't know how to read the word because that's part of the suffix of Amalek they create.
It doesn't say suffix once in the Torah. Is that for us?
It's not a Hebrew word.
Not a Lashon of Kodesh word. No such thing as it.
Doesn't exist. Shmak. Wow.
No such thing.
Is the concept exist?
It's funny. In my favorite Mahalach in the Rambam Shita Savi the Rais of the Kula is the Sivas Mahalach. It's like a short paragraph. Torah only speaks in Vados. The Torah doesn't.
It's a miyachas to Suffolk. It's good. The first machlekes was only much later.
Much later.
Right. I mean, as long as Nevu was around, there was no Suffolk. Okay, we can go on.
No, it's in the Torah speaks in Vados, so therefore the Mekayim says, so a Amalek is the underpinning.
Okay, so that's Inyan Hey. That is Macher. Shmak, a beautiful piece. Okay, let's do one more, if that's okay. Okay, so this is the first five. Tell me the label. Stop. The first five were basically about Amalek, I think, right?
Yeah. Pretty much everything is Amalek.
Okay. Well, we're gonna
take
it. This is sort of whatever. I think it's good and evil, but let's see this one. Inyan Vav. Okay. Yeah, you good? B'shas Sudas Purim, Shal Echem and Mesubim. So during the Suda, somebody asked the following question. Hine apizman sheshan is Yaakov niskaba b'tzutzis Yisrael b'teres zemer simchas Purim. The song of Sheshan Yaakov has been accepted to be that's the song of Purim. But never to move, and it's so weird, it's so astonishing. Simchas Purim is about getting drunk till you don't know the difference between Arham and Baruch Mordechai. That's what we do at Sudas Purim. As Hayidiyah shall a handle Shabin Arham Baruch Mordechai Yishamish B'Tei Avodas Hayim Shesumchas Purim. So how could it be that a song that you just sing about the different that Baruch Mordechai and Ar Haman. That is the chorus of the song. If the whole tafkid of the Suda is to reach a darga of Adal Ayada, so why would we sing a song that expresses explicitly the difference between the two? Okay. It's kasha. It's not a kasha. Not a kasha.
That's the signal song. To remind yourself, because you're already getting a place of that. But.
Okay, let's see. The Yisoid he says is lahafli, and
I mean, the key factor to his question is that they didn't randomly pick that you don't know the difference between the two. So it must be there's some type of mila that you don't realize the two. So why are we singing a song where we express the difference between the two? If the goal, right? It's not just an arbitrary share.
Question.
Right, exactly. Right. We're trying
No, I think it's a good catch.
we're trying to mix the two.
Right.
We're trying to see this two as one, and we're reiterating that they're different. So that's pointless.
Okay.
Meaning, even if you weren't getting drunk, there's a concept of being able to see the similarity between the two. So then why are we focusing on the differences?
Very good. Okay, we know the difference. Right.
Okay, tshuva. So we have to mention here a yisoid hachoizer v'nishna hoylech u'mizbar b'beis m'shen b'tkifas. A principle that has been expressed and reviewed and explained in an hour-based medrash with power. Okay. When you come across, when you're discerning a difference between two things that are similar in their externals, ki ozbal karchach ki ahevdel hanitin behem sharihu b'pnimiyusa. So then the difference between them must be more pneumistic, must be more internal. If something is similar on the outside and you're trying to come up with the differences, you're going to have to get to a deeper distinction. The more layers there are of similarity between two things, opposing this, so it's going to become clear to us the depth of that spot where there's going to be a distinction. V'kacha neiledes hi ha'hechatimsa shel avodas hakaras hashva l'shem hakaras omek havdala. So that we understand now that there is a possibility where the avoda you will dafka make two things similar in order to point out their distinct difference. Okay, when you have identical twins, so you have to find something a little bit deeper about them to be able to distinguish them. A personality trait, something that's different about them, so then you'll know how they're different. When it comes to all types of havdalah, distinctions that we find in the Torah, one havdalah, which is the greatest havdalah you could find, the time when we make a distinction between two things, is that with the girl, the lot we do, we draw on Yom Kippur. Gerel echad l'Hashem. One lot is to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, v'gerel echad l'Azazel, and one is going off the mountain. Chuda shel havdalah hazu, oiketzitzi es habasar. The sharpness of this distinction, it pierces the skin. It's hard to say the two lots in the same sentence. They're so vastly different than each other. But what do we find over here? In something which is so crazily, extremely different. We find the halacha of equating to its extreme strictness. According to the halacha, these two seir need to be they have to be similar in height, in appearance, and in amount that you spend on them. The guy is going to buy these two goats. And he's trying to set a price. So they're both going to have the same price. What's his job? You ask this guy, what's your job? My job is to find two things that are identical. Oh, but if we look deeper, it's the opposite from one into the other. All of this guy's job is his job is really for us to be able to clarify at the depth of depths the distinction in between these two things. Because the more layers of chitzonius that these things are similar in, that means that the distinction between the two is going to be much, much deeper. It's an awesome idea. It's a beautiful concept that when things are, if you want to be able to pinpoint the difference between something, the nakuda of difference, then you got to remove all the layers of similarity. You have to, the more similar things are, then you're able to pinpoint more clearly their difference. When things are so different, so maybe the difference in this, it's something so superficial is what differentiates them. I'm sorry, Vihine. What was the goat that came before these two goats? That was the first goat. That is Esav. The distinction, the difference between that goat and his brother, he lichdar b'shchava ha'amuka b'yaser ha'sharuya mitachtam. So the distinction here needs to be so sharp that it can go to a depth that will get past all of the external similarities for us to pinpoint the difference. And it's a mafurish pasuk in Malachi. Esav and Yaakov are brothers. There's a similarity. There's an achba between them. And Hakadosh Baruch Hu says, "Va'ay ves Yaakov, ves Esav senesi." But I love Yaakov, and I hate Esav. Kalemer. Tiniyusa shel havdalah sheben Esav Yaakov misbareresi. The depth of distinction between Esav and Yaakov is clarified. Dafka acharei. When I'm able to create and recognize a brotherhood between the two and a similarity between the two, then I could tell you that there's a distinction. And here we come to a deeper point. What was going on with Yitzchak Avinu? His love for Esav. This is the soy, this is the secret of Yitzchak's love for Esav. Because Avdallah ben Yaakov Esav mifafes hi b'mamakim ke'elu. It seeps into such depths. So because the difference between the two is so deep, so therefore the equation between the two, the equality between the two needs to be so similar. And the pinnacle of equality that comes between Esav and Yaakov is here. That's the love that Esav had while in his father's home. Therefore, the distinction, the Havdalah, that will go to the greatest depths between Esav and Yaakov, comes also from Yitzchak Avinu. The Havdalah, the distinction comes or is most recognized in the brachas that Yitzchak gives Yaakov and Esav. And in order for this Havdalah to hit the deepest nakuda, therefore, the Havdalah needs to come from a place of the great equalizer, and that is the love of Yitzchak to both of them. Etzem Mishtalshlos Hamur Shel Baruch Esav Shel Yitzchak Me'avasher Shel El Esav Hu Maschil. The whole bracha to Yaakov only came about because he wanted to give Esav a bracha. That's the love of Esav. Allowed him to give Yaakov to pinpoint who Yaakov was. Abdallah Yisra Muka Derech Hashua Hayesin Nisgava. The greatest distinction coming from the greatest point of equality. So this whole thing has got to take place again on the day of the destruction of Esav. So we have this mitzvah to get drunk, to be mevusam, to be intoxicated ad l'yada. So we think. So this bisum is what it exhausts the essence of the day of Purim. It sucks out matzah, it's motzitz. Right? It sucks out all of the essence of Purim is all about the bisum, about being intoxicated ad l'yada. That's what we think. We're making a big mistake. This is the way it goes. And when there's a day that we're destroying the children of Esav, the flame that's burning in its fullness, he shall have this Havdalah ben Yaakov Esav, is the flame of Havdalah. The flame that's burning is the Havdalah candle, and that Havdalah between Yaakov and Esav. The difference between the two. Kalmor ina shel heves hazu de lekes yafa elakishin achazes ba'itzim adimin u'ba'imik hashivayin hanimtza ben shnei hamuvdalim halalu. This light only shines brightly when it's in a darkness, if I may say, if it's in the darkness of not being able to tell the difference between the two, between Yaakov and Esav. When you have such a darkness, when Yaakov and Esav look so similar, then the light of Havdalah will shine brightest. So that's what it means. We get intoxicated until we can't tell the difference. There's a shivui. There's an equation. Maybe Haman and Mordechai are the same. Maybe Yaakov and Esau are the same. We're at that point when we reach the stage of Ad Yada, then we're at we are like that kohen that's mishtadel b'kol koiche lahashis es asir l'Hashem v'asashir l'Azazel asir l'Azazel b'mar b'kayim b'dam. We're the guy going to buy the goats. Gamu azu b'chinas lo yada b'in asir l'Hashem b'in asir l'Azazel. He's in the same place. He can't tell the difference between the two. Zewa ad l'yada shleim al kippurim, and that is the ad l'yada of Yom Kippur. The ad l'yada of Yom Kippur is the guy who's buying the goats, and Yaakov and Esav look exactly the same. The tzaddik and the rasha oto davar. Ubiyom Purim, beside Yom Kippurim, Yom Kippurim, Oimdim Anachnim Mevusamim Va'amilim Bavedis Hashva Shala'ar Alabarach B'Gdesh. So therefore, on Purim, on the Yom Purim, we are toiling. We're involved in this hashva, this equality, this equating of Ar and Baruch. But why are we doing that? B'Gdesh Achar Kach Nishlach Es Ha'ar LaZazel B'Tech Havdalah Muchlatas. In order that we can send Ar to Azazel with a clarity of Havdalah.
So she needs to first be in a place where they look so similar in order to throw out the Azazel.
Right. In order to be able to that's the Nakuda of Ra. That's Ra, and that's out of here.
What does that mean? The Derech Havodah,
that's what we got there. He says, but to do that, you need a big schus. And we're attaching ourselves to the schus of Yitzchak that we shouldn't stumble in this very dangerous avodah of looking for all the similarities between Yaakov and Esau, between Ra and Toiv. It was dafka through him and through that avodah that through his love of Esau, the brachas came to Yaakov. Because there's such a great danger in this avodah of equating. The only time we could do such an avodah is by Sudas Purim. Asher b'Sudas Zu Teiv Lev HaMelech B'Yayin. Dahainu Sheteiv Liba Shemalkei Shel Olam B'Yayin Havdalah HaKadosh Baruch Hu Kav Yachol is enjoying the glass of Havdalah. Asher Baihu Mavdil Ben Yisrael Am. When he makes a distinction between a Yid and a Goy. V'hainu, Sheniskav Pizman Sheshan Zakov, Pizman Shesam Purim. So now we understand why we sing Sheshan Zakov by the Sudas Purim. Ar Haman Asher Bigish La'abdi and Baruch Mordechai Yehudi, who Hagrala, that is the Goyrol. HaKayvas is Asir Achutz La'azazel, Ves Asir Apnimi L'Kedusha. The avodah of the day of Simchas Purim is the avodah of the Ish HaMikdash, who's going to buy the Sir Lazaz and the Sir Lashem, and he's being mashve. He's equating the two. The Efshalal Hagra Lazu, Kimitech Shivyan